Because evil is conditioned, good is conditioned, heaven is a condition, hell is conditioned. It's all conditioned. Anything you think is a condition. And that condition itself is, if you attach to it, even if it's goodness, it's still suffering. You still suffer. Even very good people suffer a lot because of that ignorance. But when you awaken, when there's awakeness, then that is that's ultimate reality. Beyond good and evil, but it's not rejecting, it's recognizing. So in the way of practice and understanding of the Buddha's teaching, the Four Noble Truths, then it moves to this this ultimate simplicity of awareness, a sense of presence, peacefulness. Like I've learned through being a monk, through being a Buddhist monk, I've learned contentment, basic things that I didn't have before, like learning to live as an alms mendicant within the Vinaya structure and the Tudanga style of life. It brings contentment because I'm not conditioned personally to be content. I'm conditioned personally to always want something better than what I have. I can always see, that it could be better. Any monastery I've ever been in could be better than the one I'm in. Everybody I know can be better than, I want them to be better than the way they are. And myself, I want to be better than the way I'm feeling right now. And I'm always discontented, complaining, because that's how the conditioned mind works. Now, when you trust in awareness, you transcend the conditioning of the mind. You don't get rid of it, but you see it for what it is. And so and you see the suffering of always being discontent. And so then the contentment comes through knowing the dukkha, or the suffering I create through always wanting something that I don't have, or what I have, not wanting it. It's not good enough, I don't like this, I don't want this, not wanting and wanting. Now that's my culture conditioning. American conditioning is conditioning about being discontented. So you're always presented with a better option, something higher, more beautiful, more modern, more cool, more fashionable, and gives you status and glamour and everything, and it goes on and on. There's never any end to that. And then what do? You can only stay glamorous for so long, and it all crashes around you. So you're old like this, hopeless to try to be glamorous. And then you can sink into despair. But if you know the Dhamma, then you're no longer bound to the conditioning, to the body, to the cultural attitudes, the conditioning, the personality. All these they still operate, but they're no longer coming out of ignorance and out of a touch. So to me, this is at this time, the Buddha Dhamma is a great gift to the world. And the world, people are seeking it everywhere now. We get invitations from all over this planet, not just Europe or America. There's being revived in communist China, in Mongolia, in places that it was almost eradicated. And then in countries like here in Britain, where it was never really part of the culture. It's only recently that Europeans have shown any interest or appreciation for the teachings of the Buddha. And why is that? Because the time is one where this particular teaching resonates. It speaks to us. It's a time for awakening and recognizing, not for just developing a cultish Buddhist attitude to compete with other religions. That's not it, but to awaken, to see and to recognize the truth, the way it is, the Dhamma. So one can really appreciate the 50 years of the EST. It was a very good idea. And my nearly 30 years in Britain, I look back with gratitude, all of you who've helped and supported and encouraged me over the years. I have, feel that this time here has been of great personal value to me. Because, even though, it's different, having to establish monasteries and take on the responsibilities of a senior monk and all the rest. Still, the preparation I had under Lun Por was one of awakened attention. So that's never been forgotten. And so during the conditions and experiences that I've had here in 30 years has been one of, as people praise and blame and you see monks and nuns, people going to ordain and then disrobing, and people believing and then disbelieving and so forth, and on an emotional level you feel all this, you feel the sadness and you feel enthusiastic and disappointed and all the rest. But the important thing's always been the awareness of these states. And so that's what I've learned in being a Buddhist monk over these many years, is to trust this awareness and to totally trust, to completely surrender to it, so that there's not a sense of operating in any way for some personal acts to grind or attainment or achievement in that way. So many of you come from Buddhist cultures, Buddhist Asian cultures that are Buddhist, and this is very good because you have at least your basic conditioning, is based on wisdom. You don't have to. It's a matter of learning how to use it. Not you don't have to go and find it somewhere else, but recognize it. And many of us who were born in other countries, different cultures, we've had to search for it. And of course, many of us went to Asia, to Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, India, because there's always been this idea in the European mind of somehow wisdom is in the East. And of course it's not in the East, it's in here, in the heart, isn't it? But that's a symbol, isn't it? Because the wisdom teachings are oftentimes the ones that we find in the Asian, coming out of the Asian cultures. Now this is a time where these kind of racial, cultural differences we hear all the time about the problems of multiculturalism in Britain, and the different and the European Union, Bulgaria and Romania are coming in January, then getting all these Eastern Europeans and immigrants and what to do with all these changing conditions. What's going to happen to England and Church of England and all the nice English things? There's this panic and fear of loss, and a kind of reference to maybe a golden age or a time when England was the best, and you knew what being English was, and they were all white and Christian. But now the time where that illusion is no longer, you can't hold to that illusion, because the world isn't like that. We're on one planet, this is one environment, one organ, we're all part of it. We're all living together on this planet. We're all experiencing, the attitudes about the pollution and the destruction of the environment and the all the dire warnings that we hear about endlessly of change, of destruction, of loss. Now these very, very things are, that's a natural way things go. They arise, they cease, they evolve, and they degenerate. That's the pattern of all conditioned phenomena. Now this doesn't mean to be irresponsible and just, I'm not suggesting that we don't take an interest in Greenpeace or anything like that, but recognizing that then also this wisdom teaching is available. It's been available all these 2,550 years. It hasn't been used all that well or all that much. And it's always amazed me at how clear and precise the Buddhist teaching is, and yet how, even in Buddhist countries, how few people actually use it and understand it.